Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Talking About the Big Stuff podcast with Michael Cole and Matthew Cravat. I am Michael Cole.
And I am Matthew Cravat.
Welcome back, everybody.
The most sensational, motivational.
Oh, I'm like, I know the tone.
I know that song.
Howdy ho, Kermit the Frog here.
Welcome back, everybody. We are tonight going to be talking about the Spirit Airlines, and I kind of want I'm sure you both saw that they went out of business, or went under, or however they're wording it.
They stopped operations at this point.
Right, yeah.
And that's what it is. They announced they're going out of business, but they stopped operations. So what happens next is unknown.
Right, and one of the things that has kind of blown up this weekend, which is interesting and worth talking about, especially when you talk about airlines and blowing up, is
especially the airline that's never had a fatal crash.
I saw that and I was like, oh, that's bizarre too, because they've become such a joke about like how bad they are and stuff. But I saw a video, a few reels from a guy who is proposing that the people buy Spirit Airlines and nationalize it. And I read some of the material about it, and I thought it was an interesting topic to talk about too. He said that the reason why Spirit has failed is not because it wasn't making money properly. It was because the way that corporations invest and insure and do all these other money games, and they're basically playing a game of what is it when you 3-card Monty, basically
A shell game
with the money. Because of that, they end up tanking what is like a really good airline for people.
Well, that's part of it. They were doing that because they were getting desperate, though.
Okay,
that's fair. So things that contributed. They've been bankrupt twice. So recently, is that they started as, we'll do no frills and be cheaper than everybody else, and people who normally can't fly, like not business people, but families and who just normally can't fly, will fly our airline, and they'll get nothing, but they'll get where they got to go.
Yeah,
and that worked really well. They were like the fastest growing airline. They were the third most money making airline, even though they only have like 40 planes versus hundreds that some of the other ones had. I think they were only behind Southwest and Alaska Airlines at one point as most profitable. But what happened was, big companies are not stupid, and they started to fight back. So they created sections of the airplanes in the big companies that were called like basic economy instead of regular sardine can. The seats and the shitty seats in the back, they won't give you snacks. Like, they'll treat you like you're on Spirit Air.
Yeah. And
they brought the price down closer to Spirit Air price. Spirit Air invented the whole, you have to pay to bring bags on board. Like before that, when you got a ticket, you had 2 suitcases you could check, and one carry-on, and one personal. Now everyone charges you for checking it, and that because they did it. So they were like, oh, we can knock down the price of a ticket $100 and then charge you $50 a suitcase. And this way, if you're just a day traveler or a weekend traveler, you get one bag. So they chiseled away at a lot of what made Spirit brilliant and save money. They just copied and took away what was special about Spirit. And then there was a pandemic, and besides everyone getting hurt in the pandemic, all the airlines got hurt, of course. Coming out of the pandemic, businesses and this, having been in a corporate world, stopped doing as much business travel. They did a lot more Teams calls and Zoom calls, and like they don't need to fly to Philadelphia for the day for a meeting. They just pull up a screen. And since that's where the big airlines made their money, all these business flights all the time, they stopped making money that way. So they started to work to appeal to family travel, which is what Spirit's audience was. So they stole Spirit's audience even more because they were making up for not having business audience. And then we started a war for no reason in the Middle East, and gas prices have gone up like 20 something, fuel prices, not gas, I guess, for them. But fuel prices have gone up something like 20 something % or more. So it's even more expensive. Like, they were already desperate and losing money and not profitable. And then suddenly their costs went up 20%.
Right.
And they weren't profitable to be able to survive that. So it's lots of things
Sure.
that combine. I did a lot of research today, Mike. You give me
Good.
advance notice of the topic, and I got time to research.
I give you advance notice sometimes, and then you go, "What was the topic? Did we decide on a topic?"
But it looks like something I do off the top of my head. I don't do advanced research, but I don't know anything about Spirit. And I didn't know anything about the Green Packers style. Let's take it over. But I researched that as well. Yeah.
Good.
So led us to the point where Saturday night between Saturday and Sunday at 3 a.m. they changed their website to say, we're suspending operations. If you're planning on coming to the airport to fly with us, don't. And we have no customer service line anymore to ask you anything. And then they just notified everybody that they're just unemployed the next. And if they told like pilots and flight crews that were in the air, when you land, your plane's grounded. And pretty amazingly, the other airlines have stepped up. Like they've slashed prices for people with Spirit tickets who are stranded places, that they'll sell tickets to them closer to that level of price so that they can get home from wherever they are, where they're stuck.
Yeah.
And they also extended free flights to all the flight crews that were stranded away from home. They said they'll treat them the same way as they treat their own employees, where if there's an empty seat or a jump seat, they'll let them fly on their airplanes. There's cool videos of like Southwest flight landing and Spirit pilot getting out and getting standing ovation from the crew at the airport, because he just lost his job while he was in the air, the day before. Yeah. It's very cool. So anyway, that brings everybody up to date if you have not followed the Spirit Airlines meltdown.
That's the Spirit Airlines saga. Now, the Spirit Airlines 2.0, as they're calling this attempt to buy it by the people, and I had the guy's name and I totally spaced on it. Harris and something. Anyway, I'll look that up in a minute. So he wants to use the Green Bay Packard model, which apparently 360,000 ordinary people own shares of the Green Bay Packer, and it's whether you invested $50 or $100, you have one share, and you can get your payout, like the money you make on profits varies based on what you invest, but your vote varies. You have one vote.
All owners are equal no matter how much you own. Yeah.
So it's like
Hunter Peterson, by the way. Hunter Peterson,
yes. So he is proposing that people do that, and he has $88 million pledged. Although he's had to stop pledges several times because of how overloaded his website.
He has to keep switching hosts for his website.
At this point, it's been like 48 hours, and he's raised an unverified
But he needs
pledge.
over $1 billion. So
sure. And right before we got on.
And to be fair, it started as a kind of a joke because he's an he's an influencer more than anything else.
Well, and he became
voice actor
famous.
And an influencer.
Yeah.
And he had done a famous thing that went viral where I was stuck 24 hours on Spirit Airlines. And so he just thought it'd be funny to say, hey, we could all chip in and buy it. And so many people that went viral and got like 1 million views in in hours. So he was like, well, maybe we can do this. So he really hasn't looked into the legal side of it, probably.
Of like right before we got on here,
just got a lawyer.
He posted a video about he had spoken to a law firm that is one of the biggest law firms at handling like major acquisitions and mergers, and legally there is precedent for what he's trying to do. It's still, he says it's basically possible.
Whether or not there's been one airline, like it was a small airline, not in America, I think it was a national airline, and it was small, that was like owned by the employees, kind of thing. It lasted less than 10 years. It survived less than 10 years though. And then United tried to do like an employee ownership program, and they couldn't get it off the ground, so to speak. Yeah. Airlines are a lot more difficult than other industries. Like doing a co-op owned grocery store is different than doing an airline. Yeah.
Well, that's why I think it's interesting, because even Green Bay Packers, which is probably $1 billion thing as opposed to co-op grocery stores, right? They're still regional. I mean, they have fans everywhere, right? But they're, for the most part.
They were smart enough to say, let's do this before football is $1 billion sport. Green Bay's been like that for a long, long time.
Okay. And so like seeing how this could potentially work on a national, on a company that is a national product, right? Or service. I think that's an interesting, now I also think if they get close, I could see people I could see corporations being like, oh, if this works, this fucks us up, and I
Yeah.
could see people putting money into
Well, I think
thwarting
that's one of the
this.
things he said is we have to move fast because there's no reason that some venture capitalist isn't going to buy it, even just
for
to
scrapping the plane
offer to
parts.
buy the planes at 50 cents on the dollar and sell them for 75 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and I mean, it's less likely that someone's going to swoop in and try to buy the airline to keep it alive because they would still have the same financial challenges that this model worked great 30 years ago, and things have gotten so expensive and people's salaries have not increased in the last 10 years that it's no longer a great model because people can't afford, they can't afford to run the business at the price that they can afford to offer the audience they were trying to appeal to. Like there's a reason their model was failing before this weekend.
So one thing that makes me wonder, like you mentioned, employee owned and a couple, and obviously these other issues, it makes me wonder if, because the number of people that they have that are trying to participate right now, looks like there's 142,000 people in the email verification queue. Where is the number of I don't know but like if you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people, as opposed to, what does an airline have for employees? Maybe 10,000.
The Spirit may even have less because they're regional. Yeah.
So like you're talking about, let's say 250,000 people do this, or 500,000, or whatever the number is, do this. Now, if I did this, I've never flown Spirit once, partly because they're not available right here, but that doesn't mean Sarah and I find weird flights all the time. We do Frontier, which is essentially that exact same model, right? But if we owned part of this, especially in this model, I would be way more likely to go fly this than I would otherwise. Like I would be like trying, like, you have a Delta card and you're trying to buy for the miles. You're trying to do this. Well, it's like, oh, I own a share of this, and this company, and I can keep these rates low by supporting it. There is a part of me that thinks that you have 145 people who are not only monetarily invested, but then would be, to whatever extent, emotionally invested.
I mean, many public corporations also, that's what the stock options. Glaxo, I had stock. I owned part of Glaxo when I was there because I had stock options. I cashed most of them in when I left because I needed the money between jobs. But I had bMRU options when I was with them. Or a similar thing, a phantom stock. It's different, but I own parts in both those companies, and it's part of it is to give me the incentive of. It's not just you're making money for the boss. It's like, well, if you want to get promotions and raises, the bottom line affects you. You can make money in the stock too. So you really want to give your best, regardless of whether you're going to get promoted for it.
Right?
It's your company.
So
I'm thinking of buying Spirit myself. I mean, through various charitable foundations and trusts and so forth. I mean, it's a bit technical, but the important thing is that my company's future would be secure.
Chocolate Diamond?
No, it's Wayne Enterprises. It's what Bruce Wayne says at the end of Batman Begins.
Yeah, it's all very technical. I knew what the quote was from. I just didn't. You didn't really set me up to like. It's all very technical. Don't worry yourself about it. I knew that was Batman Begins.
Didn't you get the memo?
Yeah, it's all very technical. But no, I'm thinking about putting $45. That's the minimum pledge in. I invested. Again, this is a stock thing. I invested, I want to say it was like $120 3 or 4 years ago into a company that I thought was really cool. They were an EV company. I don't think they've officially gone under, but I think that my $140 is worth about a penny and a half. And that's not an exaggeration, but it's, like I was like, if I lose $130 or whatever, but if I invest in something that's really cool and, like, clicks.
While researching this, I'm tempted to throw $1,000 into the pot. I think the average at the time that I was reading it, the average was what?
667.
Oh, it was like it was 260 something when I looked at it. So there must have been some bigger.
It jumped a lot in the last day or so because it was at one point it was at like 20 million and it's now at 88 million.
Yeah, I just meant the average amount of like money people put in. Was,
but I'm
was
guessing
in the 200s,
because the number
so
jumps, that changes the average. Now, if we could just drop the average by $1, and then People
Yeah,
would.
the fun thing, we had the president of Freedom from Religion Foundation here this weekend, and he was talking about how old our membership nationally trends, and part of it is, but it's a paid membership, so you need disposable income. It needs time to care about it and be involved, so retired people can do it better. He goes, currently our average age is 66.6.
Nice. Yeah,
So
I don't
I'm
know if you
young
know this,
there. I
but
love it.
Alex has 666 in his phone number. I've been doing certain things like filling out, things for Chocolate Diamond, and I was like, oh, Alex's number is 666.
I have 666 Facebook friends. Like, I have a list of people I would like to be friends with, and like pending Facebook requests. But I wait until somebody drops me as a friend or whatever,
or Mag is
before
out.
or Mag is out. Like, that's why I was just like, I'll go, well, I really want to be friends with this person, so let me go find someone who I really don't talk too much and drop them out. And if they don't notice and say anything, big deal. But so anyone who becomes my friend, you are my 666 friend, because I always drop somebody before I accept somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember when I friended you all those years ago.
All those many years ago.
So yeah, right now they're trying to target raise 1.75 billion. I didn't want to get on here to promote it or anything. I just find this interesting, and I wonder, I always am wondering, like, if something like this happens and if it works, does it inspire other things? I talked about that with Mamdani when we talked about the election in November, of like, if Mamdani wins and then is successful at his job, because those are different things, right? Does it inspire it in other places and in other ways? And I think that, like, this is a really cool idea that, if it works, would be interesting, because I think that I've been pretty open about the fact that I don't really like late stage capitalism. I don't like corporate capitalism the way I've experienced it over the last 20 years. And so this is something that interrupts that, or disrupts that to some extent. And so, like, is this something that can happen? And is it something that will work if it does happen?
So do you think they will have to change the name of the airline to Spirit of Karl Marx?
That'd be awesome. I did see a guy I follow on Instagram was saying, like, everyone hates communism
Unless they're in Green Bay.
I was gonna say until they have it fed to them specifically without the word, and like very detailed as to how he goes, that's what this is proof of. He goes, look at how many people are emotionally invested in what's going on here.
Well, and while we're on that topic, let's just take a quick detour to before they Friday, before they went out of business on Friday, they were doing a last-ditch effort to try to get a government bailout. And the Trump administration's offer was, we would like to do a socialism with you. Because the offer was, we'll give you $560 million to bail you out, which is what they were asking for. Mm-hmm. But the government owns 90% of your business. So you still own 10%, so you could be out there running it. But the government was going to own the business. So they basically said, let's do a socialism. The government can own your company. Where now the response now from Hunter is, no, let's do a communism. Capitalism had an offer of socialism, turned it down, so they're getting now an offer of communism. Yeah. It's a great lesson in economics.
Yeah, no, that is, and as much as, like, I don't trust the Trump administration, but like there is some ways in which, like, I think we've seen that a lot of, like, the public funded models of like the
90% is just crazy. That's the only thing for one particular, because we have the government works that way with Amtrak, where the government is a partial owner, and that works. Yeah. Like, it could work, just the 90%. Trump being like, I get all the company. It's like he watches Shark Tank too much and he thinks he should have the whole company.
Yeah. No, that's what, that, and like, we have public transit and other things. I think there is a benefit to having something like that.
I'm a democratic socialist, frankly. I mean, I'm not anything, but I would align with them more closely in a lot of ways. So, like, if we really said, you know what, the government's taken over airlines completely in America, and it's going to be the same as the buses are, like it's going to be run. I don't think that would be a bad thing.
No.
Oh, we're canceling this route because we're not profitable for us anymore. So now you can't get a direct flight, from here to there.
And the
Like,
other thing that might motivate people, if the government did get into the airline business the way they have with Amtrak and the way they have with public transit in in the cities and stuff, um, is if we had a government shutdown and all of a sudden the airlines aren't working, I feel like there would be even more pressure
right. There
on
was zero air travel, not just, oh, TSA's backed up, but
right
other pilots and flight
or
attendants and ground crews and
yeah
mechanics. There's no mechanic to make sure the plane works. Yeah.
or even if it's just one option among a many, right? Like let's say it's Delta and American Airlines and
And U.S. travel.
US,
U.S. You say U.S.
you,
Air, but that used to be an airline.
yeah, well, you know what I mean. But like government air, and government
Obama
air
flights Inc.
government air shuts down. It also puts
You know, he would just call it Trump Air. You know, he would. No matter what it was called when he came into office, he would have changed to Trump Air.
yeah, but Trump air did so well the first time.
I know.
But then
That's one thing about Trump. He doesn't care if he goes bankrupt. Is that the
right.
business goes bankrupt as long as he personally gets profit. And
What
that's
I'm
why
saying
we are
is,
the way we are in our economy. He doesn't care if the government goes bankrupt.
yeah. But it would be interesting if, let's say that had happened, and in 10 years from now, with whichever president we had, the Democrat or Republican, we had a government shutdown. We would shut down, government air, and then Delta, like I'm sure that there's an extent to which the private companies would be like happy to be taken more on, but eventually it would be like, oh, you are like literally burdening us with this, and this is creating problems. And then, like I just think that there would be like, oh, there's more pressure here, more corporate pressure too, in some ways, to like not have these government shutdowns. Because I think that like, some you ever watch the Majority Report with Sam Cedar?
Yep.
He talked about during the government shutdown how like, TSA was slow, but we also have this like private or priority TSA that, the rich people can go. So it only becomes a poor people inconvenience, or it becomes more of
it becomes really a citizen inconvenience. Like I had pre-check, but I only had it not because I have the money to buy it. I mean, though I did, but it was because I did business travel. So I traveled often enough where it would be worth my money to save my time, because my company didn't pay for it. But I traveled 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
It was worth thinking. Like now that I'm retired, and we're going to go on one vacation a year that we fly max. Yeah. Why in the world would I pay for skipping the line once a year?
Right.
So that's the thing. It's like, it's not just a matter of class. It's a matter of business people save money because they fly a lot. They save time because they fly a lot. And then you who saved up for 6 years for your vacation, screw you, you get to wait in line.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And
which makes the line more painful, because in the pre-check line, we're all business travelers. We all know what we're doing. We know where to stand, where to go. We have our stuff ready. We're boom, 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 boom. While you always have families who've never flown before, who are corralling the kids, don't know they need their ID, don't know they need their boarding pass, whatever, and slow things down even worse. Besides the fact that it's that many people, it's people who have not flown or don't fly often enough to know what they're doing.
Last night in the line for TSA, there was a woman in front of us. We, in the line, the TSA in Logan Airport separates a couple times because it's bigger. Well, first of all, there's multiple terminals, but it's much bigger than RDU, obviously. And it's at this point it separates into basically, just because it's a wide TSA area, they can funnel us, and it's more efficient to do that, right? Not because there's like one line that does one and one line that does the other. It's not that.
She's like more checkout lines at the grocery, and you move faster. Yeah.
So we get over into the left line, and the woman in front of us goes, "Is there a difference between these lines? Like, am I supposed to be here?" And I was like, I wanted to be like, "Lady, have you... I was in Boston mode. I wanted to be like, "Lady, are you new here? Like, what is going on?" And but she was.
So I've always meant to ask you why you love the airport so much there.
That I named my kid after
that it. You named your kid after it, yeah.
Logan's funny because we said something about we found out about the thing that I haven't announced yet, so I'm not going to entirely mention it. But we were talking about do I fly into JFK? What's the cheapest option? And Logan goes, there's an airport named after JFK? And I was like, yeah, there is. He goes, it's pretty cool having an airport named after you. And I'm like, I guess, but I don't love the way he got it. And he goes, well, maybe someday when you have an airport named after you, you'll get how it feels for the rest of us.
Reagan has an airport.
Yeah. I've been to Reagan's airport. It's fine.
Yeah. Let me tell you, it sucks when you're in France and your flight gets canceled because of weather issues, whatever, on the East Coast, when you're supposed to fly through JFK, and you and your coworkers race to the airport to scramble and get different flights home, and you're separated. Two of my colleagues went through Logan, and the storm was so bad on the East Coast, especially the northern part, they got stuck there overnight. They didn't even make a connecting flight. They got stuck. They stood in the airport for hours after flying from France and had to stay overnight. My boss and I came through DC, and we discovered that we landed at Dulles, and our next plane took off at Reagan. And inexplicably to me, I don't understand how this can be the case. There is no dedicated transport between the airports. There's no bus, shuttle, whatever. It's like, oh, you can go take the metro if you know, drag in your bags if you know the way to do it, or you can go on one dedicated line to get a taxi cab, and stand in line with 1,000 other people. And oh, luck be with us, we went to that line and we were 20th in line with at least 100 people behind us. Like, we just hit it at the right time.
Yeah. That is crazy. The one time I flew in and out of Reagan was I was doing a trade show in Baltimore, and my coworker, she may have been my boss at that point, I don't remember. Her and I had to leave the show the minute it we had to finish it up, be like, okay, wrap, close this thing down, hop in an Uber and go from Baltimore to Reagan. And because essentially Reagan is kind of a DC airport, but it services, if you type in Baltimore,
it's easier than going to BWI.
Yeah. And so we ended up sitting in crazy traffic, and then oh my God. So I have a pack of underwear that have a little button on the front that sets off the scanner every single time. And they just do a box. They don't show the image on the screen. So I go through, we're in a rush. I go through the scanner. They're like, okay, can you step aside? They start patting me like a full body pat down. My boss, who is a 24-year-old girl, comes through, and on the screen, it just looks like my dick is just highlighted. And I'm like, yeah, please move. Please keep going. Please don't.
That's what you get for wearing your copper brass plug while you're flying. You're supposed to take that out.
My butt plug went to the thing. Yeah. So I personally think I think that you're older, so you're going to know more about this.
I am older. Thank you for noticing.
You're welcome. But I remember, so when I was 18, 19, JetBlue was coming into, and JetBlue isn't really anymore, but they were one of the cheap airlines.
And they went to last year, tried to buy Spirit. And it was turned down by the federal judge, said that JetBlue would be too big if JetBlue bought them.
JetBlue didn't grease the right wheel.
They were trying to, Spirit was trying to save itself by being sold. It was supposed to have a deal with Frontier. Did they try firing
Stephen Colbert?
That would have been the smart move to do.
I feel like that's the key.
They tried to merge with Frontier Airlines, and then
Colbert.
JetBlue beat Frontier's offer, and they didn't want to go with JetBlue. They wanted to go Frontier, but the CEO was like, "Well, it's business. We don't have to do what the better deal is for the shareholders. I don't have a choice in that." And then they were well along the way, and then a court put the kibosh on it and said that they would be too big.
Yeah. And I think JetBlue is still fairly decently priced, but
I think that's what it was too. Is that they were the budget airline area? It would be too big in the budget. They wouldn't be bigger than Delta and stuff, but they'd be too big in that arena of the lower priced airlines.
Right. But I think that when so that was my initial coming into the cheap airline thing, because I when I was 18, 19 and I wanted to go visit my girlfriend in Colorado or do something.
So you don't remember People's Express? That was before your time,
no,
right?
I do not. I've never even heard of that before.
People's Express, you showed up at the airport, no tickets. You stood online because before 9/11, so you could go to the gate. You went to the gate. You lined up at the gate, and you paid. A flight from RDU to New York. I forget which airport it went to in New York, but RDU to New York was $25. So like you just paid $25
they only
cash.
lasted 6 years.
$25 of cash in your hand, and like they just went first come first serve. 50 cents for a Coke, 50 cents for a Sara Lee sponge cake slice, individually wrapped. So it was like you had $1 for a drink and a cake, and you're $25. I knew a girl at NC State who was a lifeguard at the YWCA in Queens, in her neighborhood. And so she was at NC State. She would go every Friday to the airport with her books, sit there and study and wait online. And if she got a flight home, she went home, called her boss at the YWCA and said, "Hey, can I work this weekend?" So she would work, either if she was early enough Friday night, or she'd work all day Saturday or whatever, or go all day Saturday, party with her friends Friday night, Saturday night, work a couple hours Sunday morning, then go to the airport and wait as long as it took to get a flight back.
Mm-hmm.
If she went Friday night and didn't get a flight, she'd just went back to the sorority house and partied with her college friends. But she, like most weekends, went home and basically made enough money lifeguarding to pay for the 2 direction tickets.
Yeah. The early days of JetBlue could be like that, not necessarily going into the airport, but you could, because the early days of JetBlue was also the medium days of the internet where you could buy tickets online. So I used to my girlfriend and I lived together that summer with her father, the summer after freshman year of college, and she'd go off to waitress for a shift, and he'd come upstairs and be like, "Mike, can you drive me to the airport?" And I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "I just need to know before I buy these tickets if you can drive me to the airport in 20 minutes. And then he would buy a ticket, fly to Colorado on JetBlue, and I would drive him out, and I'd come back, and then my girlfriend would come home and be like, where's my dad? And I'd be like, probably on his way to Colorado. And he would just do it all the time, because we found out later that he had a girlfriend out there but you could just buy the tickets. I mean, you could do that arguably today. I think that there's been, Sarah and I don't think we've done it that quickly, but there's been some times where we've done it within 48 hours. We bought a ticket. And Frontier has the Go Wild pass. Have you ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
It's
like a Reddit subreddit? Is that subreddit?
No.
Frontier Gone Wild?
Go Wild.
That's different.
Yeah, you have
that's
to
more
show
of an
your tits.
encouragement.
You show your tits, and or you make out with the girl next to you, and then they let you on. It's you pay a couple $100. It depends. You can buy them for the year. You can buy them for the season, whatever it is. And then with that pass, it's you can book anything, any flight that's domestic on Frontier, as long as it's available in the next, you can only book 24 hours out. And so that's really cool now, but there are some limitations.
If you're in a place in your life where you could just up and run any weekend or whenever you just randomly.
And Sarah and I kept thinking about it, and we're like, that sounds really cool. But the problem is if you want to go for a 3-day weekend, you can't buy your return ticket yet. And that's where we were like, we could get fucked on that.
Yeah.
And so we never, there were several years where we kept looking at the rules and we kept being like,
that's why you can make it a really great deal, because so few people can really afford to do that.
Yeah.
Because if you're at a hotel, what do? Get your hotel room night by night, because you don't know when you're leaving.
My aunt does it because she lives in New Hampshire, and half of her kids live in Ohio. So she'll fly out and see her grandkid, and then and she can work remotely, so she can just buy a ticket back when she wants.
My dad had a friend whose son worked for one of the airlines. Yeah. And so my dad's friend, Maurice, could fly for free through his son, but he had to go standby. So he'd go to the airport, basically, he'd come in. And if there was a flight, he would come down here to spend the weekend to work on, my dad was producing an album for him. Yeah. So he basically, every weekend he would try to come down, or every other weekend or whatever it was. And sometimes he wouldn't get a flight, so he'd just go home. And sometimes he'd get a flight and come down.
Yeah.
And it was great, because he was a really amazing guitarist. And when he finished performing, he wanted to pay my dad. My dad was in it for fun. He was like, "I'm not charging you. Come on, Maurice." And he's like, "I want to do something for you." He goes, "You know what? You can have my guitar." My dad's like, because he left a guitar down here, so he didn't have to travel with one. So he had one nice guitar down here. And my dad was like, I need another guitar. And Maurice goes, "Can I give it to Leah?" And my father, like, you could. So they gave it to Leah, and Leah couldn't play it because it didn't have frets demarked. There's little marks sometimes on the neck telling you where the frets are so you can know where your chords go. And it didn't have those marks, so she couldn't play it. Actually lent it to a friend of mine for almost a year when he had hand problems and wanted it easy to play soft acoustic. But then when she got it back from Austin, she had gotten so much better in guitar. She realized she didn't need those marks. Like she had just, it had been in her closet and she hadn't used it. And she realized now she can play it. And it's the guitar she plays most often now.
Nice.
So it has a built-in pickup so she can bring it to like gigs or open mics and just plug it into their system.
Nice.
But,
so I just pulled it
all
up.
that flying on standby is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the Go Wild Pass for the summer one. This just to give an example of what I'm talking about. $199 per person, obviously, but it's essentially like as long as you have there's no blackout dates, but as long as you have like 20, say it's Friday morning. Do I want to go somewhere this weekend? And then I want to go to Buffalo, New York. I don't know where
that would be a good place to go. It's half an hour from Niagara Falls. You can drive to Niagara Falls every day.
Yeah, or
stay at Niagara Falls.
And so, like, it is a pretty if you can get it to work for you, it's a pretty good deal, right? Like if you could, what do you need to use
app like
4 times in your?
That's someone told me about called Hotel Tonight, and it basically you pull it up and you find hotels that are offering really discount prices on empty rooms they have tonight. So you can, so I guess people like do business travel where they just go somewhere and say, there's going to be a hotel room somewhere. If they're in a company where they watch every cent, they get there and they look for a room once they're there.
When we do our road trips back and forth from Massachusetts, because we almost never do it in a straight shot anymore, but I don't like renting the hotel ahead of time because then it kind of sets you.
Yeah. Like, what if I'm tired 2 hours before that?
Yeah.
Or I'm totally not tired and want to just keep driving.
Yeah. Like, we got here by 5 p.m. We could have kept going. Like,
when we used to go to Disney World a lot, we would always get a hotel. We went the same, like in near, like there on off 95, but like at the exit for Savannah, there was like a, it's one of the suites, whatever ones, so where we could have 2 bedrooms, us and for the kids separately with a couch and the whole kind of thing. We had a place we liked to go that we would always get. And this way we also knew that it forced me to not drive until I was too tired and it was dangerous and I would kill my family because we knew we were going to stop at that point, get dinner, relax, have the free hotel breakfast before we leave.
So I fell asleep in the car Saturday afternoon while Sarah was driving. We were just going with her, meeting her sister at a state park in Massachusetts to hike around. And then yesterday I fell asleep on the way to the airport while Sarah drives all the time because she's a maniac. Is a control freak. And I said, I'm sorry. When we got there, I was like, I'm sorry I fell asleep. Is that annoying? And she goes, it 0% annoys me when you fall asleep. It worries me occasionally because your breathing is so rhythmic that it makes me want to fall asleep.
I was going to say, when you start to snore and then your apnea kicks in, it's like, I think you're dead in the seat next to me and I have to hit you.
No. She just, and she like sleeps better with me next to her. Like at one point we slept on couches this weekend. And at one point she pulled up 2 of the, the ottomans next to the couch so she could make it like a double bed to sleep with me, and that was the night she slept better when she slept on two ottomans next to each other. Because
Montavi's in this endless cycle of not being able to sleep because she only sleeps well when we're together, but I snore so badly she can't sleep well when we're together. So it's like she goes downstairs and then she's not comfortable because I'm not there. It's a frustration.
My snoring only upsets her. My snoring is only bad enough to upset her when I have had an edible. So I have not had that problem in over a year now. And it was funny too, because before she noticed that problem, I went on a guys' weekend and my friends were like, they stayed in a different room than me. And they were like, we've decided we're never sharing a room because of how bad you snore. And it was because I was high the whole weekend.
Yeah.
and then I said that to Sarah and she goes, you don't really snore. And then she goes, oh, wait a second. Had you taken an edible? I'm like, oh yeah. She goes, yeah, you snore a lot when you take edibles. I'm like, oh, okay.
Nice to know.
So
Spirit, are you going to donate? Are you going to pledge?
I tried to earlier and it was down. Let me see if it's is it down? Yeah, it's down right now. Let me reload the website, but
Yeah, I went to it, and there was some
Oh,
garbage
it's
on the
back up.
screen.
It's back
Like it
up.
was up, but there was also like some part that was garbage and made me concerned.
I mean, it's just a pledge, so like you're not actually like committed 100%. I mean, I
What I
would do
worry
it.
is I don't know how the business would run properly when the people who ran it for 35 years
Oh.
couldn't keep it in business. Who are you going to hire to keep it in business when they couldn't do it? That's
Yeah.
what worries me.
Now it would jumped up to 132 million.
Like raising, oh, it's a tenth of the way there.
Yeah, I don't mind. Like here's the thing: like, if I'm out $45, I'm
Yeah,
out $45.
like worth it just to say I did it. I was part of that. I mean,
right?
because if the company would have to live for a little while, you could say I owned part of Spirit Airlines for the 6 months it was open. 2.0
Yeah.
of the 6 months it existed.
Yep.
It's what if someone dies on a flight though because you guys didn't have the money to do maintenance properly? How guilty will you feel that you're responsible for bringing it back in a way that you knew it wouldn't be run to the same quality it was when experts are running it? What if there were a red button and a blue button on the plane? And if everyone in the plane pushed the red button, then they were fine. But if 50% of the people pushed the blue button, the plane crashed.
Oh, I got a pledge token.
Ooh.
I just did it.
Did it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. I'll make a screenshot so that I can remember this. Yeah, no, I think that there's there are regulations in place. I've been on planes where they've literally it terrifies me, but I've been on like any given airline where they'll come on and they'll be like, sorry folks, we're gonna have a little delay while they just do a quick engine replacement, and we'll get you right back up in the air in the next hour or so. And I'm like, how about you don't tell us? Like, how about you tell us when we're done how impressive it was that you got it done?
So I had a friend in college who hated to fly, and she was from Framingham. So she needed to fly up for Thanksgiving, and she was going to pick up her car and drive back to college in her car. And she was terrified of flying, and she begged me to go with her.
Yeah.
And so we were going a couple of days before Thanksgiving. One of my good friends went to Brandeis. So I planned with him that I'll go with her, spend a day with her, and then meet her best friend, met some of her family and stuff. But then we'll go to Brandeis. She'll dump me off with him.
Yeah.
And I'll drive back down for Thanksgiving with him, and then she'll drive back on her own. So we're flying up together, and she's like nervous. She's got like a death grip on my arm instead of holding the armrest. And she's like, distract me. So I tell her the following joke. It's a classic joke. You know the joke. It's an old joke. For the people in the audience who don't know the joke, I will tell the joke. Guy's on a plane. The plane's flying. He hears a loud bang. Plane shakes a little bit. Pilot comes on the plane, goes, ah. Ladies and gentlemen, we just lost the first engine number one. We lost engine number one. That's fine, though. This plane is equipped with 4 engines. We'll be fine with 4 engines. It will take us an extra 45 minutes to get to our destination, but other than that, we will be fine. Thank you very much. Whatever. The guys are trying to drift off to sleep. They're flying. All of a sudden, bang! The plane jolts again. It moves. Pilot comes on the speaker. Oh, everybody, this is the pilot again. We just lost number 4 engine. It's number 4 engine we lost, and that's fine. We're still balanced, 1 engine on each side of the wing, so that's fine. But it's going to be 3 hours extra because we're not going to have the same speed. Airspeed is going to be reduced. Thank you very much. So he flying a little longer, and all of a sudden, bang! Hear another noise. The plane shakes. Captain comes on and goes, oh, this is your captain. And we lost the number 3 engine. We're down to only the number 2 engine. It's fine. It's going to be an extra 12 hours. We're going to be here a long time. But we got the fuel. We have the fuel to do this. So it's going to be fine. We'll be okay. Thank you very much. And the guy turns to the passenger next to him and says, you know what? If we lose the last engine, we're going to be up here forever.
That's a great joke.
Yeah. So I tell her that joke, and she's not thrilled with the joke because it's about planes.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, pow, and the plane shakes. And she's like, why did you tell me that joke? And she's hitting my arm. She's so mad. Pilot does not come on. We land, right? We land, and as we're taxiing, ladies and gentlemen, this is your pilot. Just so you know, that loud bang you heard was us losing our number 1 engine. And in my 27 years as a pilot, I've never had to land a plane with one of the engines out. It was really exciting up here in the cockpit.
But he told you
He
afterwards.
told us we were on
And,
the ground.
yeah.
Exactly.
When we landed on Friday in Rhode Island, I won't say what airline, we hit the ground so
the
hard.
old Richard Lewis joke. I had a terrible experience on an airline. I won't tell you the name. I can't tell you the name, but I'll tell you in Greek, it would be Delta. In Greek, it would be Delta.
It was not Delta. It was one of the cheapy ones, and it was not Frontier. But we hit the ground so fucking hard when we landed that there, like just 1 second, just half a second, I thought we were crashing. Like, and then quickly, like, immediately you were like, okay, well, we didn't crash and die.
Yeah.
Like, that would take.
And then
less.
skip. So you're doing it.
And it was rough. And then this I will tell you. And we flew Delta last night. We had no problems on our flight. But while we were taxiing out of at Logan Airport, and the roads are notoriously terrible in Massachusetts because of the snow.
Because the people are.
And the runways were like. We were like literally like, and I said to Sarah, I said, only in Boston could we possibly hit turbulence on the ground. That was not Delta's fault. So that's why I don't mind.
Delta. Now we know it's Delta.
It wasn't Delta the first way up, though.
Just said it wasn't Delta's fault.
Yeah, well, it wasn't Delta's fault on the way last night, but it was on the way up. It was the other airline's fault. And I've experienced that with them a couple times, and I'm like,
yeah,
they're a little bit better, like comfort-wise than Frontier, but Frontier doesn't make me feel like I'm going to die. Like Frontier sucks. Like I hate flying Frontier, but I get there and I feel safe the whole time. I just know that my back is going to look like a question mark when I'm old because of Frontier.
Yeah, I try to fly Delta whenever I can, just because Air France is Delta. Yeah. And so I did so many points on it that I didn't find enough to have points to fly free all over the place, especially with the family. But I do have enough to get our bags free sometimes. I'm like chiseling away at my points from work by getting our bags on free.
Yeah. All right. Should we start trying to?
Podcasters, this is your podcast captain. We're going to start circling in around Logan Cole and. So if you're watching one of our videos, one of the either the full length thing or one of our chopped up videos, and this happens to be appended to it, go ahead and like that video. Go ahead and make a comment down below. We're always happy to hear your opinion and what thought process you're having about the topics we're talking about. Please subscribe to our channel, ring the bell so you'll know when we drop new videos. Alex is always hard at work, chopping up little pieces and little fun pieces to put on the TikToks and the YouTubes and the Instagrams. So please don't make his work for naught. Follow our socials and watch our content.
Yeah. And if you want to support us in a additional way, you can go to patreon.com/talkingaboutthebigstuff. That's right. You can.
Patreon.com/talkingaboutthebigstuff. I talked over you when you said patreon.com/talkingaboutthebigstuff. And I want people to hear patreon.com/talkingaboutthebigstuff.
It can also help to just, even if you go on in the free version, it does help us with the algorithm. But obviously, like if you wanted to give us $1 a month, you probably won't even notice that. And it's 25 cents a week, roughly. And we can potentially keep feeding our children. So, like, is it really that big of a deal to you?
Hey, there's a new food Leah wants to eat.
Yeah, what is it?
Costco, in their
Hot
like
dogs.
deli section or like make it yourself section, has had for a long time one of my favorite things. They have a yakisoba. It's like a chicken teriyaki yakisoba, and you take the chicken, put it in the pan, you cook it for 2 minutes, and you take the vegetables, put it in the pan, cook it for 2 minutes, and you put the noodles and the sauce in the pan, cook it for 2 more minutes, and it's done. It's very cool. It's very well timed. Make sure you use a large flat bottom pan, not a wok, because you use a wok, the heat's all in one spot and the food won't all cook in the 2 minutes. So you guys use a flat bottom pan. But they now, as of today, we just saw it, have a beef and broccoli version.
Nice.
So she loves blank and broccoli in Chinese food. Like her mood changes between beef, chicken, or shrimp, but she loves the and broccoli part. So she's looking forward to it.
I have a joke that I think I can tell. As long as I don't do the accent, I don't think it's racist.
Well, if you do the accent, it's for $10 patrons.
There was a couple that owned a Chinese restaurant, and they were having sex one night, and the husband said, "Can we try something different?" And the wife says, "What?" And he goes, "Can we try 69?" And she said, "You want beef and broccoli now?" See, I think if I do, without doing the accent, I don't think it's racist.
No, not at all. It could be any restaurant. So here's my restaurant, my joke back. You got to have a companion joke. I don't know if Mr. Nimrod is still with us. He was in the chat earlier.
Yeah.
He likes this joke, I think. There's there's this Jewish deli, and one day Schwartz shows up at the deli. I'm going to do the fucking accent because screw you.
You can do that accent.
So this well, you don't know how many ethnicities are represented in the joke.
Sure.
We're coming to it. So Schwartz walks in the deli like he always does. He goes all the time. Schwartz comes in the deli, and he's greeted at the door by a Chinese waiter. And the Chinese waiter greets him in perfect, flawless, no accent Yiddish. He's just thinking to himself, Schwartz is thinking, this Chinese waiter, he learned the greeting. Very good, very smart. Gets seated. He orders his food, and the waiter chats with him, takes his order in Yiddish. Perfect, flawless Yiddish the whole time. Comes back and checks on him in Yiddish, asks how his family's doing in Yiddish. It's amazing. He takes his check in Yiddish. Schwartz is leaving, and he sees Horowitz, the owner of the deli, behind the counter, and he walks over. He goes, Horowitz, I've been coming here 20 years. I've never seen a Chinese waiter in this deli before, but his Yiddish is impeccable. And Horowitz goes, Shah, Shah, Shah. He thinks we're teaching him English.
Hilarious, but weird.
Welcome to Jewish comedy when there aren't goyim around. That's the kind of jokes we tell.
According to some people, that's a slur now, goyim.
Oh, those people are stupid. They must be goyim.
Yeah.
People say Jew is a hate speech slur now.
Yeah.
Oi. Oi.
All right. So anyway, patreon.com/talking about the big stuff.
You can give us money. What if you sign up and don't give us money? What happens?
It helps the algorithm still. So like really anything you do, whether you watch something, like something, comment, go on our patreon.com/talking about the big stuff, do any of those things and like sign up there, even in the free version, it all helps us. It all works. And it helps you too, because if you like this show, if you go on to there and get the free version, you're going to find out about some like little extras and early scheduling things and things like that. So it's a great place to go.
So what if I only give $1?
If you go for $1, you get the show early.
What if I do $3?
You get extra stuff that we cut out because we don't want to give it to a free audience because we worry about getting canceled.
And what if I give $10?
Either way, not either way. Whether you,
so I figure you could edit that part out, except for the $10 patrons, because it still works.
Yeah. Whether you do the first thing or the $10, you can. You can.
For you, the $10, you know what the first thing was.
Yeah, and on top of that, you also get our ahead of the show stuff that we talk about, which. By this time of the show, every single week, I have forgotten what we talked about.
So for $10, that means you get like $40, so $50 a month, paying for the 4 or 5 episodes that come out that month.
No, that's the cool part.
What?
It's only $10 a month,
and
we have 4 months per week. 4
that's
weeks.
A lot of months in a week.
4 weeks per month, typically, sometimes 5, and so really $10 a month breaks down to $2.50, $2 a week, depending on which month it is.
That is, as they say in Yiddish, a bargain.
Okay, and do you have any last thoughts on Spirit Air?
My last thought is, if you've been listening to the whole unedited thing of talking about the big stuff, that was 76 minutes, and 76, that's the spirit.